how Steve Harvey settled his wildest legal dispute with Mary Lee Harvey. What happens when a boy born in the coal-stained hills of West Virginia dares to dream beyond the soot? How does a man go from scrubbing carpets and dodging eviction notices to hosting one of the most iconic game shows on earth? What secrets lie behind the mustache, the laughter, and the lawsuits? This isn't just a story. It's a roller coaster through the life of Steve Harvey, a man who turned homelessness into hustle, heartbreak into humor, and legal battles into legendary comebacks. Why did his first comedy club flop harder than a fish on a trampoline? How did sleeping in his car for 3 years become the launchpad for a media empire? What really happened in the courtroom drama with Mary Lee Harvey? Who is Essie Berry, and why did she sue him for $5 million? What did Steve mean when he said, "I don't even know this woman"? Before we dive deeper into the story of Steve Harvey, don't forget to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you never miss a beat when we drop more jaw-dropping stories like this one. It all began on January 17, 1957, in the coal mining town of Welch, West Virginia. Steve Harvey, born Broderick Stephen Harvey, was the youngest of 5 children in a household where the walls echoed with gospel hymns and the scent of hard work. His father, Essie Harvey, was a coal miner. Not just any miner, he was the kind of man who could dig a tunnel by day and quote Proverbs by night. Essie's lungs were coated in coal dust, but his heart was pure gold. His mother, Eloise Vera, was a devout Christian and the family's spiritual compass. She ran the house like a sanctified boot camp, chores before cartoons, prayers before playtime, and yes ma'am before any back talk. The Harveys eventually moved to Cleveland, Ohio, seeking better opportunities and cleaner air. Steve attended Glenville High School, where he was more famous for his jokes than his grades. He briefly enrolled at Kent State University and later West Virginia University, but college wasn't built for a man whose brain ran on punchlines and purpose. He dropped out, not because he couldn't hack it, but because he couldn't fake it. "I didn't earn a degree," he later said, "but I earned a PhD in perseverance." Before fame, Steve Harvey's resume looked like a scavenger hunt through the working class. He was a boxer because nothing says I'm broke like getting punched for money. Carpet cleaner, scrubbing stains from strangers' floors while dreaming of red carpets. Insurance salesman, selling policies he could barely afford himself. Mailman, delivering letters while praying one would contain his big break. Why all these jobs? Because Steve was chasing survival with the tenacity of a man who refused to be average. He had mouths to feed, bills to dodge, and dreams too big for a cubicle. He wasn't just working, he was auditioning for destiny. Steve's first business venture was a comedy club, a place where laughter was supposed to pay the rent. Spoiler alert, it didn't. The club flopped harder than a fish on a trampoline. Audiences were scarce, bills were plenty, and the only thing consistent was the echo of unpaid comedians. But failure didn't faze him. Steve saw the flop as a warm-up act. He hit the stand-up circuit in the 1980s, grinding through open mics, smoky bars, and hecklers with halitosis. He slept in his 1976 Ford Tempo for 3 years, bathing in gas station sinks and eating bologna sandwiches like they were gourmet. "I was homeless," he said, "but I wasn't hopeless." That line became his mantra. He kept a suitcase full of suits in his trunk, just in case someone called him for a gig. And one day, someone did. In 1990, Steve landed a spot on Showtime at the Apollo, and the crowd roared like it had been waiting for him since birth. That performance launched him into the stratosphere: TV shows, radio gigs, books, and eventually the crown jewel, Family Feud. Steve's romantic life? Think Shakespeare meets soap opera. His first marriage to Marcia Harvey, 1981 to 1994, ended quietly. It was the mid-1990s. Steve Harvey, fresh off his divorce from first wife Marcia, was a rising star in comedy. Enter Mary Lee Shackelford, a professional makeup artist from Texas. They met, sparks flew, and in 1996 they tied the knot. Steve later admitted in a 2016 People interview that he married Mary for all the wrong reasons, chief among them, loneliness. For a while, things looked picture perfect. Steve was hosting the Steve Harvey Show, Mary was by his side, and their son, Winton, was born in 1997. But behind the scenes, the marriage was unraveling faster than a cheap wig in a wind tunnel. By 2005, the couple filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. But this wasn't your average celebrity split. Oh no, this was a legal soap opera with more plot twists than a telenovela. Mary accused Steve of cheating, child endangerment, emotional abuse, leaving her homeless, violating custody agreements. She claimed that after the divorce, Steve took their son and left her with nothing. According to reports, the divorce settlement awarded Mary 3 houses, a monthly allowance, and primary custody of Winton, at least initially. In 2011, Mary filed a lawsuit alleging Steve had violated the terms of their divorce. She claimed emotional distress and said he had turned their son against her. The court reviewed the case and dismissed her claims, sealing the divorce records and issuing a gag order that barred her from speaking publicly about the case. But Mary wasn't done. In 2013, she took to YouTube, posting videos accusing Steve of destroying her life, stealing her son, and manipulating the legal system. The videos went viral, and the media had a field day. Steve's legal team, led by attorney Ricky Anderson, argued that Mary's actions were defamatory and violated the court's gag order. The judge agreed. Mary was found in contempt of court, and the videos were taken down. Essie Berry, known for her activism and as the widow of Fred "Rerun" Berry from the 1970s sitcom What's Happening, had a vision. In 2013, she pitched a reality show titled Widows, Wives, and Ex-Celebrity Wives, a behind-the-scenes look at the lives of women once married to famous men. One of her targets? Mary Lee Harvey, Steve Harvey's ex-wife. Berry claimed she reached out to Mary to join the show, but what followed was less Hollywood and more Hitchcock. According to Berry, after her involvement with Mary, she became the target of gang stalking, harassment, intimidation, and witness tampering, allegedly orchestrated by Steve Harvey himself. In March 2018, Berry filed a $5 million lawsuit against Harvey, accusing him of stalking harassment, civil rights violations, witness tampering, intimidation, and in her words, murder of her emotional state of mind. She claimed Harvey used criminal tactics to silence her and others, including fraud, collusion, conspiracy, and concealment of evidence. Berry also alleged that sealed court records from Collin County, Texas, under Judge Angela Tucker, denied her due process and protected Harvey from scrutiny. Steve Harvey's legal team responded with the kind of precision you'd expect from a man who's hosted Family Feud for over a decade. Their defense? Simple and devastating. Steve Harvey doesn't even know Essie Berry. The court reviewed Berry's claims and found them fantastical and unsupported by facts. No credible evidence linked Harvey to any of the alleged actions. The lawsuit was dismissed, and Harvey walked away with his reputation and his mustache intact. Berry didn't stop there. She continued to call for a federal investigation, alleging that Harvey's influence extended into the judicial system. She claimed that multiple victims had been silenced through sealed records and intimidation tactics, but without concrete evidence, her calls remained unanswered. Meanwhile, Steve Harvey continued building his empire, hosting shows, writing books, and running Steve Harvey Global with his wife Marjorie Harvey. The courtroom drama became a footnote in a career defined by resilience, reinvention, and relentless hustle. The Berry vs. Harvey saga had all the makings of a TV hit. A reality show pitch, a celebrity ex-wife, a widow with a mission, and a courtroom showdown. But in the end, it was a story of allegations without anchors, and a comedian who proved that sometimes silence is the sharpest punchline. As Harvey once said, your setback is just a setup for your comeback. And in this case, the comeback was swift, clean, and legally airtight. Despite the drama, Steve Harvey built an empire. He's won 7 Daytime Emmy Awards, 2 Marconi Awards, and 14 NAACP Image Awards. He hosts Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud, Judge Steve Harvey, and The Steve Harvey Morning Show. His book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, sold over 3 million copies. His third marriage to Marjorie Harvey in 2007 brought peace and a blended family of 7 children, including socialite Lori Harvey. Together, they run Steve Harvey Global, a media company with tentacles in fashion, philanthropy, and African television. Steve Harvey's life is a masterclass in resilience. From sleeping in his car to surviving lawsuits that could have sunk lesser men, he turned trials into triumphs. His legal battles weren't just courtroom skirmishes. They were crucibles that forged a legend. As Steve once said, Your setback is just a setup for your comeback. And oh, what a comeback it's been. Don't forget to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you never miss a beat when we drop more jaw-dropping stories like this one. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.